here with Southern Charm Rees, and I have a guest speaker today. She is going to discuss craft shows. This is Karen Gresham. She is with successfulcraftshows.com, and she is getting ready to hold a masterclass later this week. And I know when she was on stage at Wreath Makers Live, everybody thought her presentation was so amazing and had so many questions. And so I asked her to come onto our page and our channel and just kind of go through some questions that some of you guys might have as well. We already got a head start, so some people already submitted, but I just want to welcome Karen to our channel. Welcome back. Actually, you've been on here before. So how's it going? Where are you located, Karen?
Thanks, Julie. I'm so excited to be here. And I am in Alabama. Um, right now, I'm located in my car on my lunch break at work. But yeah, I am in Alabama near the Alabama-Georgia line. And I'm very excited to be able to be here with you guys today and help answer some questions for everyone.
Yay, yes. Okay, so we have questions I think that I get asked all the time, and I'm just going to go through them and we'll see if anybody has anything to add to it, questions that they might have. And then also, I wanted to ask you what would be some ways some creative ways to make some extra money that people might not think about when they're at a craft show. So let me write that down so I don't forget it. First of all, somebody wanted to know what types of wreaths should they make or bring? What types of wreaths should they bring to a craft show?
Oh, that is such a good question. One of the things to think about is what season are we going into? And you would bring wreaths for that season. So right now we are like in fall. Our customers are already there. We've been making it and the store's been putting it out. So fall could include late summer, fall, autumn harvest, Halloween, any kind of holidays that fall in that season. You've got Thanksgiving coming up, and then, of course, some everyday wreaths. And then we're going into Christmas. It's not too early. People are already shopping for Christmas. So thinking about all the Christmas wreaths you could do, yeah, you could take them all for the fall fourth quarter season. I would stock up on all of it.
I saw somebody that they were already starting to decorate for Christmas, and I always start like in October. When do you start?
So for years, I was someone who said I am not putting up Christmas until Thanksgiving is over. And so it would be the last weekend of November. But then I didn't get to enjoy Christmas
Yeah.
decorations as much, and then they'd be up till February. So it just depends on if I can convince the hubs that we're ready to move into some Christmas. I may do it a little bit before Thanksgiving, but I'm still pretty much, it's like the day after Thanksgiving, my tree goes up.
Wow. I do it in October. I was like,
Oh, wow.
I definitely like to just get it up there and get it out of the way. All right. So for craft shows, somebody asked, should she do one large craft show, attend one large craft show, or is it better to attend like smaller craft shows? What would your opinion or answer be for that one?
Ooh, another good one. I would say it depends on your level. If you're a first time craft show, if it's your first time or you haven't been to many and your confidence level needs boosting, I might would go to a couple of small ones and work out the details of my booth and my payments and how to handle customers. I would probably go to some small shows to get those elements down and then tackle a big show. But if you're already doing the small shows and you're ready, go for it. Go for that big one.
Okay. All right. Another question we got was, how do you choose craft shows?
Mm. So to choose a craft show, first you have to know who your customer is. As you guys have learned in Julie's group all this time, knowing who your ideal customer is, because you want to choose a show where your ideal customer is going to be shopping. So that's what I look at first. I look at who am I selling to, and then I look for shows where that person is going to be buying. And then that's how I choose my shows.
I like that. Another question was staging. Like, how important is that? The
So
overall feel of the booth and yeah, how important?
I think it's super important. I hate using the word super so much, but super duper important would be what the kids would say. It is very important because you want to set yourself apart. You've got to trust that your product represents your individual personality, and you can put that in there, but you want to display it in such a manner that it catches somebody's eye, and when they walk down that row of booths, yours is going to stand out. Now, how do you do this? So I recommend that you use some unique display items, like you can go and from you can source it from Facebook Marketplace or the thrift stores. Look for I love to hang my wreaths on shutter doors. I can get those shutter doors and kind of prop them. Of course, you got to secure them good, but prop them and then put my wreaths on it. And that's just a little something different that would catch the eye. I also like to use like antique tables and things, or things that you could paint a unique color to your brand that you could put in the booth to set some things on. I like to have a cohesive look. So my tablecloths are all going to match. They're going to be a solid color, just so that it's welcoming and inviting to come in. There's variety of things for them to look at. I may group my wreaths with seasons like together. So I may have a
Oh,
section that's fall. I may have a section for Christmas. I may have a section
Halloween.
that's rustic, or that
Oh,
you could kind of get your flow, just like you would go into a showroom. They're going to have all the like things kind of staged together. So you think of that when you're fixing your booth up.
and when you mean the accordion doors, you mean like the ones that kind of fold in on itself that you put in front of the washer and dryer or
Yes, with the
closet?
louver, like the little slats going
Yeah.
across that you can hang your wreath on.
Okay.
hmm
Yeah, and you can paint things really inexpensively. And now these days, what they didn't have when I was growing up was chalk paint. So with the
hmm
chalk paint, you don't even have to sand or anything. You literally could just put the paint right on top of it.
And now it comes in a spray can. You can get chalk paint in a spray can. Game changer. You can do
Wow.
game
I
changer.
do
You
like
can change the color of
I
anything.
definitely like the idea of having a cohesive look. And if you chose a color that stood out, like a bright turquoise or a hot pink or something, it would almost be like, oh wait, what's that over there? Like you just something just catches your eye to bring you over there. So I definitely like that idea. Um, so when somebody asked, do you make wreaths while you're there selling? Is that something
Mhm.
that you should be doing, making something while you're there?
I don't know that I would make a full wreath unless it was like some of the arts and crafts festivals have demos and they want you to be making something there in the booth. If you're making something, I would suggest that you have a helper, because here's what I've found. Because I like to make my hand bows while I'm at my show. If I get a little nervous or whatever, I need something to do with my hands, I'll make a bow. But what I've learned is customers are shy about approaching you. They don't want to disturb you. They think that they would interrupt you if you're making something. So they may not feel as inclined to ask you a question about a product or interrupt you to make a purchase.
That's a
So I
good
would make
point.
sure,
I mean, a good
yeah,
point.
I would make sure that you have somebody that could help them if you're going to be involved in making something, or make sure that you say, "Hey, I'm just doing something to keep my hands occupied. I'll put this down. Let me help you." Make sure that they understand you're willing to put down that product, and
Okay.
that you can. hmm
Okay, that's a good point. Um, I never thought about looking too busy to where people might not even want to approach you. And
Well, and also making takes up a lot of space in your booth. If you're making something, the larger the item, the more space it's going to take up. And do you want to occupy that space with making something or with your product so that you sell something?
yeah, that's good. Also, okay, one more question we got on our Facebook page was how many do we take? How many wreaths or items do we take if it's a 3-day show? Did I ask that
Mm,
one already? No.
you didn't. So I have a couple of formulas that I share in the masterclass on how to figure your inventory. But basically, you want to figure out what do you want to make from that show? What do you want your sales to be? What is your average price? And how many of those items will you need to take to get what you want to make? And then I would double or triple it so that people have selection. You want to have a variety that they can choose from.
Right. I feel like if you sell out, you could be leaving money on the table. So it
Mm-hmm,
feels like a fine line. So I like that
mm-hmm,
you have a formula of something to follow, because that is definitely one of the number one questions. And if you sell out, then there's potential that you could have sold more if you had more inventory. Not to mention just going through the vendors at Wreath Makers Live, those that changed out their inventory daily were the ones that had more sales. So you go in one day, it looks good. The next day, wow, there's more, there's more or different things to look at, so that
mm-hmm.
every day was fresh. And so for a 3-day show, I would think
Right.
that would be beneficial. Just making
And
sure that,
also, it's important to know how many people are expected to come to the show.
yeah, that's true too. Good
Because
point.
if it's just 500 people coming to a 3-day show, be a lot different inventory needs than if it was 100,000 people coming to a 3-day show.
So how long have you been doing craft shows?
I've been doing it a little over 12 years. 12
12
years. And
years.
I've done craft shows. I've done a few indoor shows and outdoor shows. I've done shows in Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. So just some different venues. And each time I do a show, I learn something new.
Okay. And so you have a master class. It's starting this week. Y'all stay tuned, because we're going to give you some creative ways that you can up your sales when you're at your craft shows. One of the things I was going to ask you was, so you're having a master class. What does that mean? What is a master class? What exactly, how long is it? What is it? What exactly is going to happen this week, starting on the 10th?
So a master class is simply where we are going to take the topic of how to be successful in a craft show as a vendor, and we're going to dive deep into 7 strategies. We're going to talk about how do you find your shows. We're going to talk about your mindset. What do you need to prepare yourself for to be successful? We're going to talk about marketing and branding. We're going to talk about inventory control, payment processing, and we're going to talk about how you do research before and after the show so that you can be successful as you continue to grow in your craft show journey. So we're going to talk each night. It's 5 nights of Facebook Lives. We do it in the Facebook group. I also stream to YouTube for those of you who aren't on Facebook. And we will have Q&As. You can ask your questions as we go along. It's usually an hour and a half, 2 hours each night, but they're recorded. So you'll have a year's worth of access to watch them over and over in our membership portal. And then I've also got handouts for you guys. I give you a timeline. I give you the inventory calculator, y'all. That thing, all you do is plug your numbers in and it spits out how many wreaths you need to take
So it's
based off of
interactive.
marketing.
So it
Interactive.
works with how you need your show to be. I like that.
I give you checklists of what you need to take. We talk about tents, different brands of tents, and how to set your tents up and how to stay overnight. Some shows are overnight. What do you do with your product? We talk about that kind of thing.
Well, don't you also talk about flow, like traffic flow in a
Traffic
booth?
flow, different ways to set up. How do you take your inventory to the shows? We get deep into the weeds answering all the questions.
I mean,
And that's what a master class is about.
you really do. You just hyper focus on one topic, and yours is craft shows. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason I'm so loving your class is because you really go from start, like if you don't know where to start, you're just completely lost. You want to get started, to all the way to how to elevate for the next show. So not just get started and survive your first show, but what to put into place so that once the show is over, how to analyze so that when you go to do that same show or your next show, you kind of have these learning moments of what worked, what didn't work, how to analyze it, what to bring to the next show, what you even break it down to your average cost per item sold. I mean, it's just very detailed, and what people typically don't think of when they're going to a craft show. I mean, I think that that's very beneficial, very detailed, and you give all of the spreadsheets and the handouts and stuff. So it's been, it's really, you opened up my eyes, honestly, to what could possibly be for craft shows, and then also all of the little things to think about. I mean,
And
obviously,
I want
taking money is important, how to take the money, I mean, that's very important, but you go into much more. I even love that you're including mindset, because to me,
to.
that's like 50% of the formula. Because if you go to a craft show and you don't think you're worthy of the money that you can make there, or you don't think your items are good enough, you might as well not even try because you've got to have the right mindset to even get started. So I love that you even bring that topic into your classes.
Thank you. And I also want to mention too that because there's so much content, and I realize that, you get the replays, but you also, once we're done, I invite you into our Weekend Warriors group where it continues, where you can continue to get support and ask your questions and things. So it's like you become part of our craft show community when you take the master class.
I like that because, I mean, especially when there's a lot of good content given to you, sometimes you can't process it all. You hear little bits and pieces, and then you'll go back and listen again, and you're like, well, I completely missed this point because I was focusing in on something else. And so, or sometimes our minds are just not ready to accept it all. I mean, I'm surely some people here have been like that, where you're reading a book or you're reading a paragraph and you're like, go back and reread it, and you just completely pick up new things that you didn't even think about. It's because our minds don't process that way. Sometimes we just process little bits at a time, depending on the scenario or the life, moments that we're in. So I like that you have that support group at the end, so that for those of you who are, still have questions, or maybe you're taking it all in with the masterclass, but your show isn't actually in until October. So you'll have that support system ready when you do your show in October. So I think that's actually, that almost could be a product in itself. Just that one group could be almost a membership group, but I love that you're also offering it as a courtesy to those who do take your master class. That's a very valuable thing. I had something on my mind I was going to ask, and now it's slipped out. I should have written it down. Oh geez. Maybe it'll come to me. One thing that you and I were talking about, and I think that we could offer our viewers watching today, is ideas for, so in the industry, they're called upsells, right? Or it's little things that you could sell on top of something that people are already buying. So they're already ready to buy from you, but there's one more thing that you could offer them, or a couple more things that you could offer them in order to just increase that value of that customer a little bit more. So I was wondering, do you want to go through some with them and just kind of give them some
Sure.
ideas to start brainstorming? And anybody here, if you're watching, you could also join in on the conversation. If you could think of something to offer, go ahead and chime in. But what would you say are some good alternatives?
So one thing that comes to my mind is door hanger for your wreath to hang it on the door. A lot of people are, they'll say it's really pretty. I don't know how I would hang it on my door. Maybe in that instance, you've got you can get them pretty inexpensively, the hangers that go over the door, and offer that as an upsell. Hey, for just $5, here's a hanger for you.
They have
And
various too. They have various ones. So you have the metal that go over the door, but if you have somebody who has like a glass storefront, they have the suction cups that
they
work
do.
very good and they hold a lot of weight because I've used those on a couple. And then they also have some that are what are they, magnetic or something? I don't remember, but there's like, I know at least three or four. They also have those door hangers that are hooked and you on both sides. So you can
Hmm.
have one on the outside of the door and the inside of the door. So there's actually
Yeah.
variety of door hangers to offer.
And they come in various colors, and some of them you can get them with little star, a star on there, or just plain, or you can get them kind of with an ornate scroll on it. You can get them and offer different ones. You can also get the ones that are stands, like a wreath stand. It's like 28 inches tall, 26 inches tall, and it's just a hook on a stick that has a weighted bottom.
And
And
oh yeah, I've seen those.
so if maybe they wanted to put the wreath, on a counter in the kitchen, or maybe they
Uh-huh.
wanted to display it on a buffet, something.
Yeah, or even
Um,
on the hearth, like in the fireplace. I think
mhm.
that's a
Yes,
cute place to put a
yes.
wreath.
So
Yeah.
you've got that. And then, of course, don't forget your bows, y'all. Fourth quarter is one of the top bow selling seasons. They can put a bow on a lantern, they can put a bow on a candlestick, they can put a bow on a porch light. You get the wreath for the door and you get a coordinating bow that would go on the porch light, or maybe they have those. Some people have those like lanterns that are outside, the gas powered lanterns on the
Yep.
pole. Oh gosh, you could make something so pretty for that. You
Or the
could
mailbox.
the mailbox, you could recommend, maybe they bought a wreath and you've got a matching swag that would go on that lamp post. Or the garage, both sides of the garage usually have lights. Let's put a small swag up under each of those lights. Get a custom order from them. Once they get the wreath, hey, I could match that, and you could have, a matching mailbox swag, carport swags. Oh, you could just go crazy with it.
I mean, there's really so many different ways to use bows, honestly. I
Hmm.
mean, if you're putting a wreath in the house and they might want some matching bows for their Christmas tree, so you could make even little mini bows instead of a larger bow. So
That's
there's,
right.
there's
Those for packages.
yeah. Okay. What about what are some other options?
So I got to tell you this one. I have a lady that used to buy a bow and she put it on the front of her car every year. She
Yeah,
decorated her car with a bow.
that's interesting. I've seen
So
little mini wreaths, but not a
yeah,
bow.
she put a big old bow right on the front. Every year she'd tell me what her theme was. So some other options.
Could maybe offer like gift wrapped options. I know a lot
Gift
of
wrapping.
it depends on what you're selling. I know here we're predominantly reads, but your upsell could be, do you want me to go ahead and gift wrap this? And what that would look like is maybe a cellophane bag with a, raffia bow or some bow, something at the top of it where you just have a to from tag that somebody fills in
Mhm.
later. So it doesn't have to be, secured in a box and then gift wrapped it that way. It could literally just be a nice cellophane bag. And then for anybody who's like, obviously if they're selling jewelry and stuff like that, it'd be a little bit easier to offer gift wrap. But I feel like gift wrapping, especially during the holiday times or holiday shows, is a really good option for offering a little. You just get a little extra money from your customer at that during that checkout process.
Yes. And then one other thing that I mentioned is I offer, if they're buying a gift, I can ship it for them. So
Oh, isn't that a good option?
so sometimes, that, oh, my sister would love this, but she's in Tennessee. Well, let me ship it for you. I can wrap it up as a gift and you can send it to her.
I like that. Or what about those people who are coming to craft shows and they're from out of town? So we
Hmm.
go to the
I can
mountains a lot during the fall. And if I'm in a craft show or a craft event, I might not want to take that, wreath or big whatever and bring it home. I might need somebody to ship it back for me. So it's one less thing I have to worry about. That's a really good option. I like that one.
Yes, I did that for a lady just last fall. And she was from New York, and she really liked some of the wreaths. She said, I can't find these where I'm at. And so I told her, she said, but I can't carry it on the plane. And I said, well, how about I ship it to you? Now, she paid for the ship. She was more than happy to pay for the shipping. She would have paid for extra to put it on the plane. And I shipped her 3 wreaths that, the week after the show. I sent them to her.
I
She was
like
super
that.
happy.
I like that. So those were a few. I'm sure there's other ones that you go through with your course, but so how does everybody get there? So I'm gonna put I don't know if I can do it here. Maybe I could do it here. Oh, it might show, I don't know, on Facebook and YouTube, but there's the link to join if you're interested in learning more and getting started, or if you are already getting started and you're not making the sales that you want to make at craft shows. Karen is just a really good teacher for all of that. She definitely has like a teaching heart. One of the things remembered I was going to say is that sometimes Etsy feels slow. You know what I mean?
Yes,
There's a lot of people who are struggling to figure out Etsy, the SEO keywords and the photos and, just the hassle of it. It's just a lot of work. And don't you feel like craft shows could be an alternative to either add to an Etsy shop or in addition to an Etsy shop, just to help get some additional income for the fourth quarter?
absolutely. I feel like, Etsy is kind of a more mid-range, long-term game where you've got to constantly be working and putting your stuff out there. And then a craft show is all that stuff you've got sitting waiting to sell. You can take it to a craft show and have immediate sales, and get some instant income, so to speak. And then you can also utilize your craft show. We talk about how to link your sales to your Etsy and get credit and boost up your know, like, trust factor on Etsy by increasing those sales through what you're doing at a craft show. So
Yeah.
you can kind of have multiple benefits from it.
I also like that you include ways to start making money before the craft show even starts. Like
Mm-hmm.
before you even pull up to the show or to your booth and unpack the car, you've got ways of trying to or solutions of getting sales before that even happens. So you really do cover so much information. Let's see, there was a couple of questions. Carol says, how often is this class offered? So if purchase available after the class is over. So go ahead.
Yes, and yes. So this will be actually the third time I've offered the class this year. And hold on just a second. My car just decided it would stop, and I gotta have air. It's hot in the south. Sorry about the dinging, but yeah. I will probably, the goal is to offer it getting ready for this fourth quarter push, and then it may not be until getting ready for the first quarter of next year before we offer it again.
Yeah.
It is available as a replay only afterwards. So if you don't get into the lives, but you can also purchase the lives and be in the Facebook group. If it's after the fact, then the replays are in the portal, and there's not the comments and the content of the Facebook
And there's no
interactions.
be able to ask you questions and stuff. Okay, that's a good one.
Right.
Somebody says we sublimate signs for wreaths and we bring them for other wreath makers that are at the show. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's knowing who your target audience. Who are you selling to?
Yeah, right. Terry says one of the shows I'm going to stress is handmade only. Do you think that guideline would allow you to sell things like hangers? I was thinking about taking some bows.
Okay, so you look at the vendor rules very carefully. The majority of the shows like that will say they usually say that you can have like 10 to 20% of your product be ready made. And that's how you can, because it's an accessory for what you're making. Now, you couldn't go up in there and sell something that would be bought at a big box store, that has nothing to do with your product. That's what they're trying to avoid. But when in doubt, always contact the show coordinator and say, hey, I would like to offer this to my customers. Is it okay?
I like that. Somebody asked, do you always bring items for all seasons to all shows?
I don't, because like I won't take Easter for the fall shows simply because I want to have enough inventory in that season. Now, if I run short of time and I don't get things done, and I'm selling out of everything, then I'm going to sell whatever I've got.
Yeah,
But
I would think that,
I usually try to stick with the seasons and the holidays that are coming up.
and I would think that you're just gonna, that would be eating up more space in your booth. If,
It
if
does.
you're in the middle of fall and Christmas and you bring an Easter something, the chances of that selling are less than if you just brought a couple more fall or Halloween items. Um,
I have had customers ask me, "Do you have any Easter?" And that's when I direct them to my Etsy store or my Facebook page, or get their contact information and get them on my email list, and we start a dialogue after the show.
and you said email list. So you guys, she not only shows you how to do your craft shows and sell at craft shows, she gives you ideas for marketing. So email list would be marketing, and that I love that. So that's a lot of information that you give in that course. Um, I think that's what I wasn't gonna say. I was trying to think of something else I was gonna say. Jackie says, when does the class start?
Starts this Thursday. The classes are held at 6:30 Central, because guys, I work a full-time 9 to 5 job, and so I
And she's
come
on her
straight
lunch
from
break right now.
yes, yes, I come straight from work. And then I get down in the shop. I get me a little bite to eat. I get down in the shop, and we will do the shows. They'll be at 6:30 Central. They start on Thursday, and we'll do Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and have a wrap up final Q&A on Monday night.
I like it. I like it. So much information. I don't want to keep you too long because I know you are on your lunch break, and we got to save some time for eating. But I just want to thank you so much for coming on, answering those questions for those who submitted questions on our Facebook page, and just to introduce you guys to Karen. Again, craft shows are a great way to either add an additional revenue stream to your handmade business, or to start a revenue stream for your handmade business. I know a lot of people are worried about the technology. I hear that all the time. I just don't know if I could figure out the technology when it comes to Etsy, or social media and stuff like that. And so craft shows are a really good solution for those who are looking to sell handmade. So I love being able to share these ideas with you. So does Karen, because we're here to serve, we're here to help. We want you guys to be as successful as you possibly can. And for some of you, that is craft shows. Now, I know that there are different type of work. No matter what, it's a lot of work. No matter where you're selling, you're going to have to put in some effort, and it's work. But just to have that as an option, and pique your interest, this might be the solution that you're looking for, especially when you have an expert who's been doing it for 12 years. She knows all of the questions. She knows what people will say back to you in order not to buy. And she's got great responses to that to make them think, well, maybe I should buy this. Great solutions for rearranging your booth, and how to, I mean, she even told me, well, you want to shift things around so it always looks different. And somebody will come by and go, wait a minute, I was looking at a wreath. Where did it go? And well, she's always like moving things around. I'm like, I never really thought about stuff like that. And so she's just got a lot of experience and ready to share it with you. But more importantly, it's very organized. So it's like very methodical in the way she teaches, and it's just very detail oriented, and it has all of the spreadsheets and all of the check sheets and all of the things that you could possibly think of. let's see, there was a couple. Kay says she signed up. Cheryl says, Karen, your presentation at Wreath Makers Live was so informative, and I'll check out your class for sure. Love that, Cheryl. Thank you, says a Facebook user, for sharing. Great interview. All right, that's good. So you guys, I'm gonna put the link right here one more time for her class if you want to join. Again, it starts on Thursday, and you'll have access after the fact to all of the replays and get into her Facebook group after it. And so you can ask questions because, according to Karen, I don't do craft shows. You fill out these questionnaires, right, to get ready for the craft shows coming up. But then I don't know, December, you start filling out more questionnaires in order to get ready for the spring craft shows. So you literally could be on, what do they have, this circuit or something? I'm sure a circuit, a craft show circuit.
Right.
So you just kind of get into the habit of going to these craft shows that you're going to be successful at, and you have timelines of when all the things need to be checked off the list. I love that. All right, I think we're going to end it. I don't see any other questions. Somebody's asking the link. Let me see if I can paste it one more time. You guys, see if you see it.
Thank you, Julie. This is an opportunity that I've dreamed about, to be able to help people, to be able to, be successful and make some extra money, pay some bills, and, just get a reward for all the hard work that you're doing. And if I can help anybody with that, it helps my heart to do that. So.
Amen. Amen. Why can't we all, have a little extra money at fourth quarter to help with those Christmas gifts, if even that, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right. Karen, you stay on, and I'm going to end the stream for you guys. Keep asking your questions, because Karen will come back after work and look at and answer them for you. Okay. So keep looking at it. And we're going to end it right now. Bye, guys. Thanks, Karen.